Yes, it's finally here. Forget India-Pakistan. Honestly tell me. Forget that India-Pakistan October 14th. All Indian fans were waiting for this day. Actually,
Or should be waiting for this. Yeah.
October 22 was actually the date because there is a very interesting backdrop to what I'm going to say, an India versus New Zealand contest. I mean, people would ask, why India versus New Zealand? Well, India have not won against New Zealand for 20 years.
Siddharth, some optimism. Start with some good
No.
news, some optimism.
Exactly.
While laying down a backdrop which everyone knows at the start.
I'm building up the optimism.
Okay.
Because it's 5-3 in New Zealand's favor, okay, in World Cups. Not won ever since 2003. But hidden in those numbers, the 3 wins that India have had, 2 have come in India. And this is the right time, if you may say, for India to end the 20-year pain. Because India versus New Zealand is happening in Dharamshala. And it presents India the best opportunity to continue the streak that they have now in 2023. And to end it and to end 20 years of pain. This is the best opportunity, and straight up, I'm going to say that India start as the favorites in this match because I think they have the depth, they have the balance, they have all the team players that can ensure a 20-year pain ends. Gentlemen, I throw the floor open now. I say India start as one of the favorites. Who wants to start?
But I don't think India start as the favorites. Yeah, it's on a 50-50, the scale is 50-50. What Nikhil sir has been saying since a couple of days, that whatever conditions you give the New Zealand, it could be a spinning track, a flat track, or a track assisting the pacers. New Zealand's all bases are covered fully. I have had that nervousness all night long yesterday. I'm pretty excited for this match. I consider this as the marquee match of this tournament. So all the 3 departments, New Zealand will give you that fight. It's going to be a very exciting match according to me. And more than that, I feel the best opportunity for this Indian side is this game, because as of now we are not in any pressure. We have won 4-4. We are at a very good stage on the points table, and because of that reason, this is a very good opportunity because you are going without the pressure. You can get that monkey off the back, because if you would have seen New Zealand straight away in the knockout games, then that would have been a problem for you, because that thing would have played in your head. But right now you can just win this game, and if by chance there are a lot of possibilities that you would see New Zealand in the knockout stages, so at that time you would be at much more ease and you would be much more confident if you win this game today against them.
See, I do think that India, again, it's a very 50-50 game. I think this is one game, and truth be told, we've been waiting for some sort of a thriller. You haven't gotten that yet in this World Cup. Yeah, you've gotten upset. You saw Afghanistan beat England, you saw Netherlands beat South Africa, but neither of them were thrillers. The game was done and dusted long before it actually came to an end. We all knew that. That was true for Afghanistan, England. That was true for Netherlands, South Africa. So I do think that today might be that one game. We were expecting yesterday to be that one game, but South Africa beat England all the way back into 2015. So it's not going to be that game either. But I think this one, India-New Zealand, battle of 2 sides that are unbeaten, I do think this might be that one particular game where you see it go down close. One thing I'll disagree with Sid is when he say India have that balance. Unfortunately, I think that balance is now thrown entirely off course by the fact that they don't have a Hardik Pandya. So you're going to be making changes. It could very well be, and by the way, I'm quoting a former or a rather current India wicketkeeper batsman, Dinesh Karthik, who's there doing work, and he's put a picture out on his Twitter handle. We can show that on screen also if need be. He's put out a picture of the pitch wherein he said it looks a bit on the dry side, which means you might not have to compromise your balance too much. Because if you really want to do it, and we'll get into that debate later on, you could very well just bring in Ashwin for Hardik and you're good. You're playing 3 paces and you have potentially your 3 spinners as well.
Yep, 3 spinners, yes. But then, okay, if you look at it, I agree. Hardik Pandya, perhaps, he would have been the X factor on this particular kind, because with his absence, 2 slots have opened up. 2 slots in the sense that you need a batter and you need a bowler. A batter, most likely you're going with Suryakumar Yadav. I think Suryakumar Yadav is set to make his World Cup debut today. But in the bowling department, now with DK throwing a new spin into this entire situation, because he shared that visual on his social media, that is devoid of live grass, which means it could spin. Now, Shardul / Ashwin / Shami. That is the conundrum that we are all looking at, because many people are saying perhaps Shardul will play, because I don't see India making that many changes. But if he does make way, will it be Ashwin? If looking at the wicket, that is why, if DK's pitch report is to be believed, Ashwin coming in, you've got Kuldeep, Ashwin and Jaddu. All three varieties are sorted in that sense.
Yeah.
New Zealand, on the other hand, will they be wanting to bring in Ish Sodhi? Because then remember, you've got Trent, Matt Henry, Lockie Ferguson, the three bowlers who hurt you in 2019, but you've also got Glenn Phillips, you've got Mitchell Santner, and you've got Rachin Ravindra. They can actually play 4 spinners. Maybe drop either of Ferguson or Henry and get in an Ish Sodhi.
I think in that case, it'll be Ferguson who will go, because I think Henry has been stupendously consistent so far in the tournament. I'll venture a thing and say he's actually been their best bowler right now. He's outperformed Bolt, he's outperformed Lockie. When it comes to consistency so far, he's just been phenomenal. So I think he'd be safe. You're not dropping Bolt because, of course, left-hander, you know his record against India's top order, you know how much they're troubled by left-handers, and then Lockie unfortunately misses out if they want to bring in an Ish Sodhi.
Yep. So, see, it will be which team picks the right combination.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it in 2019, India did not have, they had a certain weakness. Now, in this match, yes, Hardik Pandya's absence is a blow, but it's not a weakness.
Yeah.
You can actually say that India have covered that base up very well.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that also. 2021, when Hardik wasn't bowling, we got knocked out that was 2021, right? So at that time, that was a very big problem. I think the team revolved around that situation, that Hardik isn't bowling, so that balance wasn't correct. In this World Cup, this is a very big difference which I have noticed, that as soon as Hardik Pandya has pulled out, it hasn't India hasn't pressed the panic button. So that base, I think India has covered through these 2 years, and because of that, I feel Hardik Pandya, when he comes back, definitely a plus point. But as of now also, if he's not there, it's not such a big thing that you have started panicking that this might not end up in a very good situation. So that is also something that has changed.
Yep. But it's the right situation. Rohit is in good form. Shubman is in decent form. Kohli, as we know, is in great form. So the same was said in 2019 as well. But here, I think since it's a league game, there isn't much of pressure at this point. And that's why New Zealand, again, the conditions, as I've said, 35 ODIs that New Zealand have played in India, they have only won 8. There is a reason why they struggle. And 2 of India's World Cup wins against New Zealand have come in India. So that's why my first point, the basis upon which I created that statement, is that India start as the favourites is because they are playing in India. Had it been in any other neutral venue, then I would have said New Zealand start as the favourites. But otherwise here, Dharamshala, I see New Zealand, okay, might be the best conditions. But again, if it's a dry wicket, then New Zealand's pacers have kind of been nullified in that sense. And swing early on, I mean, remember, teams that have won the toss also, in Australia's case, they committed harakiri, number 1. Pakistan also, they didn't help their plans by collapsing 8 for 36. You look at Afghanistan and Bangladesh, you say maybe they should have batted a bit better. Now, if you look at it, New Zealand, if they put India in, then you are going to see some challenges, because India have not been challenged while setting a total. How well will their bowlers defend?
Yeah, all of India's 4 wins have come in chases. In fact, just want to add to the point that you guys were earlier making about how good this bowling lineup is. Let's also not forget that they're not playing a certain Tim Saudi right now, who has a phenomenal record. By the way, Saudi is up for selection. That's the clarity we got from the stand-in New Zealand captain, Tom Latham. He said that Saudi is going to be up for selection. Whether or not they make that choice is something we'll get to know very shortly, but I doubt if that'll be the case because the job in his absence been done phenomenally well by the trio that they have fielded as of now. But just looking at his numbers, he's dismissed Kohli 5 times, Rohit 6 times. Oh, no, the other way around. Rohit 5 and Kohli 6 times in ODIs. That just tells you the kind of wood that he's had over the Indian duo that on whom the hopes rely heavily on. Having said that, I think speaking of team composition, I think New Zealand's team combination does make me believe that they have the right balance much more than India. Now India will look balanced right now as well, from the outside. On paper, team India look very balanced, even sans Hardik Pandya. But then the point here being that we know that this isn't in line with what Team India ideally wanted. We know this isn't what they had practiced for. It looks good, and on many days it will 9 or 10 times be very competitive as well, or be a match winning squad too. But right now, given the side that you're up against, in the conditions that you're up against, let's not forget Dharamsala is the venue that has offered the most swing in the World Cup so far. Given the likes of a Matt Henry who troubled us in Manchester, the likes of Trent Bolt, who we can only say so much about as far as him giving India troubles is concerned. We all know the numbers too well. I will then give a slight advantage to New Zealand because things do look pretty much in line with what they would have wanted. Plus, Mitch Santner, the guy who's operated like an absolute unplayable player in the middle overs and has troubled in India in the past as well.
At this point,
I think it's going to be difficult there for Team India. But today, as Shane had earlier suggested, could perhaps after 1/3 of the tournament being over, perhaps be that one match that really gets played out right till the very end and ends up being a thriller.
Yep. Looking at the wicket, yes, there is no live grass. It's brown.
Dry.
It's dry. And remember, it's not that hot in Dharamshala. Okay, there is a bit of cool breeze that's blowing at this point. The Dhaladhar Mountains, it ensures that it is very clear at this point in time. So you are not going to see that much of rain interruptions.
But there is a prediction. There is a rain prediction for noon, about 20%.
Well, we are in noon at this point in time, so
yeah, and look, it does look misty. There is some cloud cover over there in the background.
But I mean,
It's
you have to be
clear
fair.
skies.
This is the hills.
Yeah.
If there's one thing in hill stations, and Dharamshala is not low, I mean, that there'll always be a little bit of clouds around. That doesn't really mean much. I do agree, 20% rain, I remember reading about that, but 20% rain also means 20% of the area. Hopefully it avoids where the stadium is.
Yeah.
If it has to.
The other thing though, and which is where I feel this could really be a big difference in today's match, is the toss. I think the team winning the toss will have the upper hand, and in my assessment, I think would want to then be batting second because dew will play a part. Tom Latham had earlier said that as early as 5 p.m. the dew starts to set in the build up to today's match. So 5 p.m. is, by the way, good 90 minutes earlier than what you expect in even venues in the northern belt, let's say Delhi or even some place like Nagpur for that matter. You expect the dew to be there, or Lucknow for that matter, but not that early. 5 p.m. is too early for the dew to be setting in. That just tells you, I'd be surprised, let's say, if the team or the captain winning the toss would want to then be bowling second.
I don't think, looking at if the team wins, suppose India wins, they'll definitely want to bowl. There's no doubt about that. If New Zealand win, I would say the blueprint is simple for Dharamshala. Win the toss, bowl first. You may get to a total of 280, 290 considering the fact, but then if the dew factor comes in at 5 o'clock, and remember, higher up in the hills the sun sets earlier and also dew comes in earlier as well. So that's why already you're seeing the days are getting shorter up in the north. So that's why you're looking at the situation where dew will come earlier, and by 5, meaning that 40 overs in the first innings, dew would already have settled in. So that's why you're looking at a situation where you'll have to bowl with soap throughout the entire second innings.
And then the death bowling, even in the first innings, will become a big challenge.
Yes, this is where. So win the toss, bowl first. Maybe
has to be the mantra.
That is the way how you're looking at it. And looking at New Zealand's chances, they won against England chasing. And remember, that time the dew hadn't set in that much in Ahmedabad. It was just poor bowling. And now with the dew factor coming in, New Zealand's wins, if you look at it, they have chased against England, beat Afghanistan while defending, chased against Bangladesh, and their other win against the Dutch, that also came while defending. So they have had an experience of both. 2 wins while defending, 2 wins while chasing. India, on the other hand, all 4 have come while chasing. Now, if they lose the toss, can they adapt to batting first and ensuring they set the target and the bowlers defend it?
By the way, India have not been very lucky with the toss. Lost the toss against Australia, won it against Pakistan if I'm not wrong, then again lost it against Afghanistan, Hashmadullah Shahidi making that blunder at the toss, and then again against Bangladesh as well.
Yep.
In fact, I'd want India to lose the toss because I'm looking at this game as a preparation for the knockout, because there are a lot of possibilities you might just end up losing the toss and toss might not go your way in the knockouts also. And because this game is very big, and if India loses the toss and ends up winning the game, it's going to be a very big boost of confidence for India going into the knockout stages. So I'd want India to lose this toss. Maybe that is not the right thing to say, but it would be good for India. And secondly, I would also, what Sidvi sir said, not go by the New Zealand's record in India in the past, because we have to remember this is an ICC tournament. I remember doing that video for Sports Today about the prediction on top 4. There were a lot of people who did not have New Zealand in their top 4 sides. But as the tournament started, we see them at the top of the table. So we cannot take that a factor of that ICC tournament out of this situation. So I don't think they will have this in their head, or even for that matter, the Indian management will take the fact in consideration that they don't have a very good record in ODIs in India.
Yeah, I mean, see, when you look at ICC events held in India, I mean, 1987 New Zealand lost 11, they didn't play against India. 16 World T20, they upset India.
Yeah, in Nagpur, East OD.
That was a masterstroke from Kane Williamson. You needed a masterstroke to ensure that one of the masters would get subdued in MS Dhoni. But that now the one reason why I say when New Zealand start as a little less of a favourite is, okay, the record against India might be fickle. It can change on any given day, right? But you remember in the game against Bangladesh, and I pointed out to Shane also, there was a period, or against Afghanistan rather, there was a period when they collapsed. 3-4 wickets they lost for just 10 runs. Now Afghanistan let them off the hook. India, if a similar situation happens to New Zealand, India might not let them off the hook that easily. And remember, catching wise, fielding wise, and even bowling wise, India are a much better team. Because if you look at catching and outfielding, India are right on top when it comes to all the parameters and the indices at this point. So that is why, if there is a situation where New Zealand collapse, I think India will not allow them to recover.
I'd say the other way around, perhaps. I think I've seen this Indian team being found guilty of letting the runs leak towards the end and not being able to close matches at times, and that we've seen in fact across formats. I would say that India does tend to find it difficult to chip away wickets at the end, get rid of the tail. With New Zealand, though, I think they have that habit, or they have that skill set, let's say, of closing in games, of just strangling the opposition a little more. With India, I think their ploy would be to try and win that game in the middle overs, because that's what they've done so well in these 4 matches as well. The fact that, yes, of course, Bumrah and Siraj are doing well for you, not Siraj as much, but Bumrah a little more. But it's those middle overs in which Kuldeep and Jadeja are bowling that I think is going to be the key for India today, as well as has been the case earlier on. Their economy, by the way, is the best. India's economy, if you are to see phase by phase, is the best while bowling in those middle overs, and it's courtesy those two.
Those two indeed, and I will just say that, yeah, maybe they have struggled to bowl the lower order of India, agreed. But maybe against New Zealand, buoyed by the fact that, okay, they would want to avenge their losses that they have had, and this New Zealand team has surprised them in the past also. But with 2019, that surprise factor is gone. Because now they are much more under the scanner. I mean, you knocked them out in the 2019 semi-final when you were the overwhelming favourite. India were the overwhelming favourites. Let's make no mistake about it. Then that was the last game a certain Mahendra Singh Dhoni ever played internationally. That was his last walk from the international arena. So New Zealand, that surprise element is no longer there. Fine, you are playing them after 16 years.
Not Rachin Ravindra?
What Rachin Ravindra?
No surprise factor to him?
No, I don't think.
As a bowler or as a batter?
Both.
I would say as a batter, he would be a surprise element. Because Rachin Ravindra, no one expected him to start off the tournament like how he did against England. I would say Conway was more assured of the loss.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But Rachin Ravindra, my goodness, the way how he tore apart the England bowlers, that was surprising. But since then, he's had a lull. And many people were even pointing out that I think the one person who will be really, you may say the key factor for New Zealand is Tom Latham. In the past, Tom Latham has hurt India, be it with his captaincy, even be it with his batting. I mean, I remember the 2020 series when New Zealand won 3-0. It was Latham at the bottom along with James Neesham and Ross Taylor who ensured that New Zealand would not lose too much of ground. And Latham, I think I would agree with one of our family members, it was truly, I think he is the key on this wicket along with Conway.
I will say one thing though, I get all points well taken, but I think that surprise factor which you're talking about when it comes to India and New Zealand, I don't think it's actually been extinguished, because if you look at how it is that even after 19 fine, you lost the semi when you were, by the way, the overwhelming favourites. Let's make no bones about that. Thereafter 21 came and you were stung by New Zealand not once but twice in ICC tournaments. You had the WTC final take place where of course you did also shoot yourself in the foot, wrong team combinations, but that doesn't really help much when your batting collapses the way it did on both occasions. That was one. The second was of course T20 World Cup. You had already been stung by Pakistan. You needed to beat New Zealand to not just actually get your momentum back, but pretty much stay alive in the tournament. There also you had that element of shooting yourselves in the foot, totally changed your batting lineup. I remember Rohit dropped down to 4, Ishan Kishan was opening.
Talking about 21.
21,
right?
yeah, 21. I don't know what was going through the mind at that point in time. You just panicked
You're
after
psyched.
one loss.
Totally psyched.
But then what did that do? Consigned you to a second loss? You're out of the tournament before it ever really begins. You thrashed the minnows, but did it matter? No, didn't make it to the group stages. Now, I think this game obviously has way less stakes because both teams have won 4 matches each. Even if any one of them loses, not the end of the world. It'll be only the first defeat. You do have a grace period of, or a grace amount of 3. If you're lucky, maybe even 4. But you'd want to be winning. And I think New Zealand do have that little bit of a bogey factor when it comes to the team. 20 years streak doesn't come about by accident.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's an 8-1 record since 1990, if I'm not wrong. It's an 8-1 record in favor of the Kiwis. Again, the one loss coming only in 2003.
Centurion, and that too. Let me add, 2003 was a close match. I mean, Sehwag got out to Bond. Ganguly cleaned up a 96-mile thunderbolt from Bond. Tendulkar, after 3-4s to Darryl Tuffy, hold out to Point. Had McCullum not dropped Rahul Dravid of Bond, it would have been 9-0. And the streak, what I'm talking about 20 years, could very well gone to 36 years. Because see, after 87, New Zealand won in Dunedin, 1992. 1999 in Trent Bridge, low stakes match. Because India were already out, New Zealand were assured of a semi-final. They still won by 4 wickets. 2003, lost, that's 2-1. 7, India's title-winning campaign, 10 runs, New Zealand won. 16, master stroke from Kane Williamson, 47, defending 127. 21, WTC final, wrong team combination. 21, wrong team combination, the World T20. And showed that, as Arshit said, 8-1. But records and streaks are meant to be broken. And just as I was discussing with Madan Lal sir before I was coming here, he said, see, records are meant to be broken, streaks are meant to end. So, somewhere there is an optimism because see, India have faced 2 tough teams. I mean, if you look at it, Pakistan and Australia, out of the 4.
We're being very polite by calling Pakistan a tough team.
I know, I myself call them semi-minnows, but fine, I stick by it. But New Zealand, if you look at it, 1 win came against England, great. But if you look at the other 3, it's against the weaker section. Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and if you look at it,
Netherlands. And I remember saying on the show that the one team schedule that every team would be envy of would be that of New Zealand. Look at Australia's for that matter, yeah. What wrong did Australia do to get that kind of schedule? But somebody had to get that kind of a scare, right? You really couldn't have done much about it.
Your first 4 matches were against the toughest opponents.
Exactly.
South Africa,
India,
Pakistan, Sri Lanka. Although, again, as I would say, I'm also been polite in calling Sri Lanka and above, but they're a tricky opponent. At max. Now they have been demoted to that situation. Tricky opponent. They're no longer the banana skin for a lot of other teams at this point. But yeah, looking at the situation,
India does have that edge because, and I'll give a reason for that, because I saw that candid chat Shubman Gill did after with Rohit. The way Rohit answered and the vibe of the team gives that feeling that is not so much on their minds. It's definitely still going to be on their minds somewhere, because we have it, even they would be having that somewhere in their head. But I don't think that's going to matter that much, because firstly, what I mentioned, that it's a group stage match firstly, and secondly, I feel that feeling you're getting from Team India as of now, it's not that much. They're not that scared of New Zealand as of now. But New Zealand, again, they have that record, so that is something that is going to play on everyone's head. Are you a little nervous about this game, or have you been thinking about this as the marquee event till now?
India have never been nervous of New Zealand. They know that they're a strong team, but somehow there is something about New Zealand that, I mean, either they are laid back nature or because they are so calm.
Why at the start of the show I said that I'll give them slight as, because look, has there anything that's changed really from 2019 till now? Those X factors are still there. You got somebody who can trouble you with the new ball. You've got somebody who's a smart operator in the middle over, and then you've got a batting which is doing ever so well, even without a Kane Williamson.
And there is no Ross Taylor. He also hurt India in that semi-final, by the way.
He did.
So those two players have not.
It's a well-rounded team, and there is no harm in calling them, as a team that had the slight advantage. Again, I expect it to be a thriller, which is why it's a 51-49 for me. I'd be pleased if India win, but I don't mind there being a little bit of a reality check, or a little bit of, or maybe just a loss will probably only help you iron out things that could perhaps. Yeah.
Specifically New Zealand?
Today's match, you say?
Yeah. Would you be okay if India lose today? Will you consider that as a reality check, or will that carry forward with you if you face New Zealand?
So India have won the toss.
No. As a good toss to win.
Yeah.
I think they will
toss to win. I'll just answer your question, Shashwat. Let's just
see
what we have from the center.
I think India will opt to bowl.
Yeah.
It was a no-brainer.
Think there should be any doubt.
But I'm excited to see the team combination they go in with.
I think it will be Surya coming in definitely.
Yeah.
Elected to bowl.
No, I don't think so. I think if it's a slow pitch, then you're bringing in Ashwin. That's it. That's the only
I
change.
think the pitch.
Yes. So you'll just shorten your batting a bit.
Shorten it how? You've got Shardul and Ashwin
And
down the order. You're good.
But
You saying Ashwin Shardul both play?
Yes.
Both come. So you consider them both equivalent to Hardik as in terms of
No, I
batting?
don't. Hardik is irreplaceable, but that's the best you can do in this circumstance. Let's see.
I'm also even excited to see the wicket, because ICC has given the Ahmedabad and the Chennai wicket as average, which we had this conversation off camera once.
Yep. So I'm just waiting for the team. I think he would have already announced the team. I think you may see, I mean, convention says that looking at the pitch, Shardul / Ashwin.
Yeah.
And maybe Surya. Maybe. I'm not sure.
I think because this Indian team does like to try and read into the conditions a bit more, I think it's Ashwin who's playing, not Shardul, and then Sky plays.
Yeah, because Ashwin also gives you that more assurance with bowling.
And he can bowl you those 10 overs. With Shardul, you don't know if you can have him bowl all 10.
That could be a very good combination, but it all depends on the weather and the conditions.
Shami and Surya.
Oh, okay.
That was...
Go up. It's there. Up, not down. There we go.
Wow. So, Hardik isn't available, so does Shardul. Okay.
So, then your batting ends at number 7.
Yeah.
Ravindra Jadeja will be number 7. Number 8, then you will have Shami. Number 9 will be Kuldeep. Number 10 will be Siraj.
Bumrah Siraj.
Then...
But at that point, the order doesn't matter.
Yeah,
but it's ending at 7.
But it's ending at 7. And I don't mind that. I don't mind India's batting ending at number 7. I think what India have done today is they have fielded their best 5 bowlers of the squad that they have. They fielded their best 5 bowlers, which is something that I've been wanting to see right from the start of the tournament. Though it's a forced change, but I like the fact that they've gone back to their talisman in many ways as far as bowling is concerned in Mohammad Shami, the man who they've trusted all along as far as ICC tournaments are concerned. And contrary to what many would have expected.
Oh no, but even Surya's there.
That's what we
Surya's
said.
playing now. Surya and Shami have come in.
So Surya bats at Hardik's place, which will be number 6. Number 7 is Jadeja. Top 5 remain the same. And then you've got your 4 bowlers.
So even in 2019, if you looked at it, 2019,
just the 5 bowling options. You had 5 bowling options only in 2019 also against New Zealand. It was Bhuvi.
Wait,
it was Kuldeep.
No, Kuldeep wasn't there. Bhuvi was there, Bumrah was there, Shami was there, Chahal was there.
Chahal was there, sorry, yeah.
And
Jaddu.
Jadeja. So you had 5.
So you had batting till 8, by the way. Dhoni batted at 8.
Yeah.
So in that way, if you look at it, fine, I don't mind the 7 thing because it's playing according to your strength. You want to play to your strengths, and I've always been a fan of have 7 proper batters play your best bowlers. Because that will be your strength. I mean, I tended to feel that you copied Australia and England by trying to have a number 8. A number 8 is expected to be what? A bowler. He's not expected to bat. Okay.
That's going by convention.
That's going back to 2030. That is it. You're not expecting 100 from a number 8 unless it's a collapse of 29 for 7. Not until that situation. So, this is the team that we have got. Suryakumar Yadav makes his World Cup debut, which is good news for him. So, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli, Shreyas Iyer, KL Rahul, there were no problems over that. But as I had said, with Hardik Pandya's absence, 2 roles had to open up. A batter and a bowler. Suryakumar Yadav is your batter at number 6. Jaddu is at 7. Kuldeep is at 8. Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami is your inclusion, along with Mohammad Siraj. Now, that is why Shami, Siraj, Bumrah, along with Kuldeep and Jaddu. Fairly, you got variety in it. Shami and Bumrah straight up. Siraj is your first change. And you operate with Kuldeep and
in the middle overs.
Then you got Siraj and
Bumrah to cap it off.
In the death, hopefully. Because I would say, give 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 overs of Shami straight up in the power play. Then bowl him a bit in the middle overs. Siraj and Bumrah at the death. As simple as that is.
As for New Zealand, they are unsurprisingly going with the same 11.
No
Ish Sodhi, and I did not expect.
Tim Saudi as well.
Yeah, I didn't expect him to come in. Who would you drop?
There's no reason to drop anyone.
Exactly. The most susceptible would have been Henry.
Chapman.
But Chapman, exactly. Look at the slot. No, you're trying to bring in a bowler. Why would you pull him out?
Exactly. You have, anyway, you're batting. Your advantage is that you're batting till 8. You want that depth. That's the reason you have Santner batting at 8. So I don't think you were bringing out Chapman. The only person realistically you could have dropped was Matt Henry, and he's been your best bowler. You can't drop him. You can't drop him.
You could have either dropped Ferguson and gotten in Saudi.
But that would have been very one-dimensional bowling lineup there. The reasons New Zealand's bowling lineup works so well now is because in Henry and Bolt, you've got 2 new ball operators, but right hand, left hand makes a big difference. Lockie is your middle overs enforcer. He'll hit those hard lengths, look to be pacey. That's the advantage he gives you. Then they're 2 spinners, and of course they'll get part-time overs out from the likes of Glenn Phillips. All of these guys, they have bowling.
Rachin Ravindra.
Yeah, Rachin Ravindra is another one. I mentioned him. Mitchell. So they have plenty of options for the middle overs. I think Saudi is not coming in. I don't see him coming in. The only way he would have come in.
See, they could look at bringing in Saudi only when they too are looking at giving some sort of a break or some sort of a rotation that they want to do. Because since you have him in this squad, and if it wasn't for his injury, maybe he actually would have started. Ahead of whom, I don't know, but he would have been a short starter in this. But this is just, testament to how good a team New Zealand are right now without, let's say, Tim Saudi. I think he's their 3rd highest wicket taker, if I'm not wrong. So, without him and without Kane Williamson, you are not just top of the group, you're looking at serious contenders beating the hosts.
Exactly.
That is just how good this team is right now, and they will not make the kind of... See, it's what attracts me a lot towards New Zealand, and it's not about picking a team right now. I'm just saying, as a team, what attracts me is how good the boys are with their conduct, with their play as well. So, barring how just they will never ever grab the headlines. They will never ever be hogging the limelight, but they'll always get the job done.
It's always in the psyche. I mean, I remember in the World Cup, in Rugby World Cup, I like to allude to New Zealand's first World Cup, 1987. They won the World Cup. Normally, you would be treated as heroes, or you would be having felicitations, you would be meeting heads of states and all that. One guy actually said, I have to leave the party early. He said, okay, they all understood. Okay. Next early morning, 6 a.m., he's got his lunchbox, he's waiting to go to work. That is how the societal setup is in New Zealand. There, players are put on a pedestal. This was in the semi-professional era. Now we are in the total professional era now, where players will get. But then next, you look at 2021. What were the celebrations in New Zealand? Very, very mature celebrations. Kids came, all of them came, and you even see how
the way they announced their squad. That was also
the
really
greatest
cute.
video that you will ever see. I mean, New Zealand's players value family much more.
Yeah.
That reflects even in their culture. They value their culture a lot more now. That's why you look at all of them. I mean, all of the players who are announced. All Blacks Black Caps number 198, Devon Conway, number 200, Will Young, Rachin Ravindra 209, Daryl Mitchell, no number because his kids just announced. Our daddy Daryl Mitchell, yay! Then you have Tom Latham, who is 174. No, sorry, not 174.
Really intrigues me at times.
Yeah, Glenn Phillips is 204. Mark Chapman is 194. Santner is 147. Henry 184. Look at, that's why you remember these small things. And that's why New Zealand are such a lovable team. I mean, even look at the comments.
You can't hate them.
Give us one reason why we should hate you. That's the New Zealand team. And remember, you don't feel that rivalry also because of one more thing. They are gentlemen on the field.
Yeah. And off it.
You feel the rivalry, but there is no sort of negative vibe in that rivalry. You feel that rivalry because of the past you've had with New Zealand in the ICC tournaments, but even as fans or as people who cover the game, you never feel that negative energy towards them.
I mean, come on, even during the World Cup, Kohli and Williamson were having a very casual chat. And even in 2021, when New Zealand won, the first person to really give them a heartfelt congratulations was Kohli to both Williamson and Taylor. And remember, all of the guys, I mean, there are only 4 individuals who've featured in the IPL in this New Zealand team: Conway, Mitchell, Santner. You may say Henry, but he's not featured much in the IPL. He played one season for Punjab Kings. Trent Bolt. 5 of them have Glenn Phillips. Phillips, I think, played for RCB.
Plus SRH, if I'm not wrong.
Plus SRH. 6 guys. So they are also familiar with the IPL, and many people like these players a lot more. A lot of the fans like them, and that's why they don't have this bad mouthing, thrash talking attitude like what the Australians are. That's why India-Australia feels like a hostile rivalry. India-Pakistan because of events off the field. But with India-New Zealand, good guys.
Yeah.
Good guys on the field, good guys off the field. Even India's current players warm up to the New Zealand players a lot better. So that is why that edge is in there when it comes to a rivalry. And you'll see a lot of friendly exchanges even today.
Yeah.
Tom Latham also is not someone who will come at your face.
Nobody is.
The last guy who did that was Stephen Fleming. Fleming, and to a certain extent Dan Vettori.
Yeah.
Remember, Vettori in 2011, he had a go at the South Africans in that Mirpur quarterfinal. Everybody trash talked the South Africans.
This culture change you're talking about, it actually started, I would say, under Baz. When he took over the team, and at that point, New Zealand, I would not say it was naturally in their psyche, but they would get fired up. I think it was under him that you saw that kind of taken, toned down. He said, look, we don't need to be playing this way. We can win, play hard, play fair, and be respectful to, let's say, the opposition. You saw that take place with him, who's taken it forward very commendably, of course, Kane Williamson, and I think that's something that they're going to carry on doing because it suited them well. They've actually experienced, if you realize, they've experienced ever since that time. See, 2015 really was when that ascent of theirs started in ICC tournaments. You made the final of the World Cup.
Yeah.
Sure, you got brutalized in the World Cup final. That's not something you could help. But they made it to the final. 16 semis was it?
England.
Yeah. Then 17, I think they didn't make it to the semis of the Champions Trophy, but 19 made it to the finals. 21 made it to the finals of the T20 World Cup and the WTC. Then 22, I think they missed out on the semi, or they played the semi.
They played the semi.
They played the semi and lost the semi. Pakistan. Qudrat ka nizam, they fell victim to of all things. So, but if you look at it, they have been a consistent performer. Otherwise, you'd look at New Zealand and be like, okay, can be good, can be bad. There's always a, you look back at them and you never saw them as an intimidating team outside of home conditions. Now, ever since that culture change where they focus more on their cricket and being gentlemen, it's served them wonderfully. They have no reason to change it.
Yep, they have no reason, but then we'll focus on the team changes here.
One question I had was that do you think that the wicket isn't going to play out the way it looks, because neither have New Zealand gotten Ish Sodhi and neither have you gotten R. Ashwin. So do you think are we reading the wicket a little differently, or other captains and the team management have gone in with the dew factor and all of the factors that Dharamshala, the weather would change, the ball would nip a bit and swing a bit. So are you going by the look of the wicket, or do you think the captains have something else in their head?
Well, I would like to say, I was just going to point out, because we all thought dry wicket, maybe another spinner would come in, but no. Shami is in, you've got 3 pacers and 2 spin bowlers. With the case of New Zealand, you've got 3 pacers, but you've got 3 or 4 spinners, 2 part-timers in Rachin Ravindra and Glenn Phillips. Well, then you look at Santner, that's one. Oh, you may have to include one more, maybe Rachin Ravindra. Glenn Phillips is your part-timer.
Yeah, because you have 2 full-time spinners in Ravindra and Santner, with Phillips being that part-time option, and of course Daryl Mitchell bowling his cutters.
Yeah, which is why Shami's inclusion, man, this pitch I think might have stumped everyone. I think Shami's inclusion could be that last piece of the jigsaw puzzle when you say, okay, I get in my best bowler. Now, in case if there is an injury, I don't have to compromise on my strength. I am enhancing my bowling, which is necessarily not a bad idea. The batting, let my 7 batters handle. I've got confidence in my batting lineup. That is the situation I think has worked in Shami's case, because Shami is an out-and-out power play bowler who can get you wickets. And on this wicket, I think Shami holds the key. Maybe if it's a dry wicket, his reverse swing can also come into play. Remember, Shami is a good exponent of reverse swing. And remember, in the Ahmedabad game, the Indian bowlers were getting reverse swing.
A little, because the 2 new balls, the rule that has quite bit to remove the reverse swing factor.
But again, I think Shami's inclusion could be that game changer that you had, because he will get you wickets up front and ease the pressure on Siraj and Bumrah. Remember, I think Siraj was kind of like struggling, like, okay, I'm getting tonked for runs, but I was coming back. Now in this, Shami gets you wickets, Siraj is the enforcer, Bumrah is your out-and-out strike bowler. I think Siraj's role becomes much more clearer than Shami is your new ball bowler. Maybe in Ekana, if you get the wickets like how you got against South Africa and Australia in those matches, you may persist with the same combination if Hardik Pandya is not fit. You could. That is why I think Shami's inclusion is the game changer, because he will get you wickets in the power play. Something, if you remember, if you looked at it, in the 2 matches against Australia and Pakistan, India didn't strike that much in the power play. They struck towards the middle overs. With Kuldeep, then Bumrah coming back in. That is the reason why. In the middle overs, Jaddu, Kuldeep have done their job. But in the power play, they somehow have taken only 1 or 2 wickets.
That's because, again, that's been that little bit of criticism that Mohammad Siraj has had to cop up, because he's not been effective. Remember against Afghanistan as well, he was bowling way too down the leg side. Against Pakistan, I remember he was trying a bit much and he wasn't able to get his lines right. So he's been guilty of that. He needs to be the one to be, because he's been leaking runs at about 6.5, 7 in those 4 games that we've seen from him, without as many wickets that you would want him to take. So going forward, and today as well, I think he'll assume much more, and this deck should actually help him. It suits him, the kind of bowler that he is. Hopefully he gets more punches from the deck today as against what we've seen in the previous 4 matches, and that's where the onus lies on the Indians in the power play. So if they can fix that, you expect a different Indian side today, a better bowling performance, I would say, in those first 10.
In those first 10, and also I think one more factor. I mean, the pitch may be dry, but I think the extra bounce. Dharamshala produces good bounce.
And the weather.
Not just the weather. See, the weather in an afternoon game. Let me tell you, in the afternoon game, you'll get much more assistance from the deck. At night time, you can get assistance in the air. Because under lights, if there is dew, if you control it well, you can get the ball to zip through. And that's where I think this was a very important toss, for the simple factor is, if the dew is so high, you're anyway bowling with a bar of soap. It's very difficult to control, and that's why the other factor is maybe Santner bowled with that much of dew in Chennai, but he got good wickets.
That's the advantage, I think, with dew is that as a finger spinner, you're not allowed as much. Actually, finger spinners get it worse, really. But I've seen even wrist spinners struggle when it comes to
It's
dew.
the reverse. I think the wrist spinners struggle a lot more.
Wrist spinners tend to get it worse.
In dew, right?
Yeah. The finger spinners
Dew
you can
conditions,
have that control. So
see, of course, the when you're using your fingers, you're getting much more control than against, wrist movement is much more challenging that way, is to get it right. It's an absolute soap. We saw it the other day when we went out for a game of cricket late last night, late a few months back. Again, it was so difficult. The ball's merely a soap. You can really not, as a fielder, you struggle. Yeah, no, not yesterday morning. There was this time we went for a match. This is not like the quality of the ball was any good, but even then, the discoloration, the discoloration that Sachin Tendulkar speaks of so often, that happens. Again, it's difficult to grip. So many counts as a bowler. Again, we forget, or we never try and sympathize with the bowlers that much. It's really not easy, and then the margins we know in international cricket are just negligible. A Yorker becomes, without control, a full toss, and a full toss gets dispatched for 6 then.
Yep. So let's take a couple of comments now. We've gone on with the team and everything. We'll come to the predictions and all that a little
let's see what it is
later.
the family members have to say about this particular game, because I'm sure there is, let's say, a lot of excitement for this particular match.
Prithvi Patnaik and he's saying, I don't have any question, just want to send the super chat to share my happiness and relieve that India has benched Shardul, better late than never.
You best believe he's coming back, and dear God, I really hope this man has one match-winning performance, which actually he does tend to, in fact, let's say, get way too much unnecessary criticism.
As I said, he's a very misunderstood cricketer, Shardul. He's like Ajit Agarkar, I'm saying. Agarkar got that much of thing, okay, but he had backing. I don't know whether with this guy, whether he'll get that much of backing.
He's getting the backing.
He's getting the backing of very important people.
People, exactly.
The head coach and captain have come out multiple times and said that no, he's someone we intend backing. He's a wicket taker.
In fact, Rohit the other day in this video shared by the BC said, Rohit has gone ahead and called him a big match player.
He is. I mean, I hope he becomes that soon.
I mean, I'll never forget that one performance. I know, again, we're talking IPL.
I understood,
RCB. Absolute batting collapse from KKR. He goes and belts a nice little half century. He got.
He ended up finishing with 80 odd, if I'm not wrong.
If I'm not mistaken.
70,
but that 50 also came in very quick time.
Got them to a good target, and then ensured that KKR spinners would.
Was it the same match in which Venkatesh Iyer also fired?
No, that's a different match.
That's
Suyash Sharma's debut match, where
4 wickets. I think.
Yeah, he got 4 wickets, and RCB's batters had never seen him play, because he never played a senior level game till that point, and he went and took 4 wickets. That's why he unleashed that celebration.
Is he injured, or has he been dropped?
He's been
No, Shardul, not Suyash.
No, I don't think he's injured.
But it was mentioned that he is also
Does
not
our set not look quite orange today?
It does look
orange.
Orangish. Yes, I do.
But of course, you have to remember that this screen sometimes does tend to give off some weird colors. So if you look at it over there, I think it'll look much better.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we all look like Oompa Loompas.
Dex, I am really, if I find I'll kill you, because SA will destroy NZ in both cricket and rugby World Cup. Okay, as far as rugby is concerned, I agree it is going to be the most epic contest. I mean, you had the greatest rivalry in the final after 28 years in the Rugby World Cup. As far as cricket is concerned, South Africa beating New Zealand, not far-fetched. I think this team wants to erase all the past idiosyncrasies that has happened with them?
No, be polite or don't be polite. Say they want to stop choking.
They can. I mean, see, they didn't choke against England. I mean,
No, they didn't need to.
Yeah, because
that
England
was
choked.
a brutal performance, and that's why. Dex, I hope both your predictions come wrong. But I think as far as cricket is concerned, I think South Africa will hold that edge. November 1, by the way, that encounter.
Siddharth, no relation to this one, says today we'll see a better Siraj because I always believe he's a wonderful first change. Could be.
But he got that 6 for 21 while opening the bowling.
Exactly. Actually, that's what I'm thinking of. Most of his best performances for India, which made him undroppable in the ODI scene, came as one of your lead bowlers. He was getting so much swing early on and double advantage that he would bowl well in the depth.
Yeah, and I'm not going to discredit Siraj. It was a phenomenal spell, but I think aided by some very bad shots by the Sri Lankan batters also. Asalanka, I remember, really went ahead and put the ball into the hand of the fielder at cover. Yeah, what shot was that really?
Yes, it was.
There were some bad shots.
Shreyansh Par score on this pitch.
Par score.
Ooh, that's a really. That's why I
I
wanted
think
to make that.
looking at the dry nature of this wicket, I think 240.
No, I don't think it's trust
no
me,
chance.
it's deceptively dry. I think you're targeting about 320, 330.
And the dew factor in the second innings, the ground is a little small also.
I think you're looking at 280, 90.
300 at least.
I think you need 300.
At least.
You need 300 because don't forget it will become tougher to bowl. Of course, the advantage that New Zealand have is they don't really have a wrist spinner. So if it does, in fact, let's say, not ease out at all, then they have an advantage.
Shreyansh has actually asked the toughest question.
Yeah.
Here. I really don't know what to make because see, you had a score of even 160 on this deck, but you also had 360 on this deck.
What matches have we seen here? We've seen Bangladesh, Afghanistan here.
We've seen England,
We've seen
The biggest upset Netherlands, England.
Then in South Africa.
So
Netherlands,
South
South Africa here. You also saw England, I think, play over here.
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh.
They beat Bangladesh, though.
Yeah, so Netherlands, that match was 245 in 43
In 43 overs.
Yeah.
So,
Or 243.
245.
Whatever.
43 overs. Abi Zibran is saying, big match for Will Young. If he gives New Zealand a good start, dropping him will be impossible later on for Kane. But then if he does well also,
I think he's
still dropped.
He's
because-
still, and that's happened.
Yeah.
That one match that Kane Williamson played against Bangladesh, he was the one who was dropped.
Yeah, Will Young, black cap number 200, he will get dropped.
Akash Bhardwaj also asking some good questions saying, do we have anyone in the domestic circuit that can replace Hardik, Venkatesh Iyer, Deepak Chahar or Dubey? How is there no one? All the three names you named, by the way, have their own problems. Venkatesh Iyer, I love the guy, not that effective as a bowler. Deepak Chahar, not that effective as a cricketer because he's half the time injured, poor guy. And
Also
Dubey,
batting once or
his batting
twice only.
Chahar is, by the way, a perfect Shardul replacement.
Yeah.
He gives you a bit of batting.
Yeah.
A bit of batting. Deepak Chahar. I know people will tell me that, he's opened for his domestic side, but that's a whole different story. And Dubey, man, his bowling was getting tonked in the Asian Games. What more do I say?
I know. And remember, the other problem is Deepak Chahar. I mean, that's why I will say MS Dhoni is a miracle man. For Chennai Super Kings to won 2021 with both Deepak Chahar and Shardul Thakur. Oh my goodness. Next level.
But that time, of course, Shardul also had one advantage. He was playing under a captain who knew best how to use him.
Yep. Yeah. See, that's why Shardul Thakur, 3 for 48. 3 for 50, but still he would get you wickets.
I mean, you've seen that Dhoni doesn't mind a bowler like that, which is why Tushar Deshpande.
Yeah. Tushar Deshpande was leaking runs at 14 and over, to begin with.
But Dhoni won the IPL with him. I'd want to take this Kuldeep's question. For all matches of India against Sena, we are getting dry pitches. It is ICC event or BCCI event.
But again, we don't know whether it is a dry wicket as such.
Yeah, I don't think it's that dry, but I mean, Kuldeep,
I think
good
this question is also after the ICC rating the pitch, but I'd like to have this discussion not.
I think once we see how the pitch plays,
I'd want to talk about this in the post.
See, I agree with the Chennai wicket against Australia. It was average. I mean, let's be very honest. But rating Ahmedabad as an average,
yeah, that was a bit surprising.
Yeah,
I don't agree with that. But
Because
Chennai definitely
The
deserved
rating for
average.
that pitch should have been Ahmedabad. It was Ahmedabad in so many ways.
Play like the first match how it was.
Yeah.
No, I think Pakistan's capitulation made the pitch look horrible. It was a good wicket. They could not have lost 8 for 36.
Even the tournament opener was a good wicket.
I don't know.
Great wicket.
I didn't agree with the Ahmedabad assessment at all. I didn't
No,
agree.
yeah, Pakistan were, I guess, 115 in 22 overs.
By that logic, you should have rated the Dharamshala wicket with
Yeah.
Afghanistan Bangladesh's average. There you collapse for 160. What do you do then at this point? So it's going to be packed.
Jasprit Bumrah with the new ball.
Sea of
Quick
blue.
time prediction score. Shashwat.
285?
25 is what New Zealand are getting to, right?
Yeah.
Shane?
I say they get to about 320.
Is this a predicting score or what you think is the par score?
It's a prediction.
Yeah, okay.
Prediction for New Zealand, right?
275. And India winning.
That was that.
I go with New Zealand 286. And I think New Zealand might win.
At 286?
By the way, if you say 320 and India chase it down, it will be the highest successful chase against New Zealand in World Cup history.
Yeah.
Their previous highest where a team chased down was 287 by Australia in Chennai in 1996. Since then they have not been able to. So, let's see how it goes. 2 slips in place. And some
Shouts over there. Virat Kohli was animated as you expect him to be in this high octane clash. But we leave
So
you
that's predicting a hat trick
with the match now. Do watch the match, but don't forget to watch and join us as well after we reach the halfway stage. Crowd still building up. You can expect it to be a fiery contest, and yeah,
It will be a very genial contest, but competitive contest.
yeah.
And crowd it's almost full because they stop the cars quite before the stadium. You have to walk.
True,
for a
True,
bit.
true.
Because the roads are pretty narrow down.
Yeah,
narrow
it
down,
is.
yeah.
So Devon Conway, CSK versus MI. It's starting. I mean, I had to get that. Sorry. So we have predicted in the range of 200. And what did you say, Shashwat?
285.
285. What was the lowest? I think mine's the
Yeah,
lowest.
yours is the
Yeah,
lowest.
275 to 320. We are saying all are saying an India win, right?
Yeah.
I'm going with a New Zealand win.
New Zealand. So 3-1 in favor of India. So let's see how it goes from me, Harshit, Shane,
But
and
you do hope
Shashwat.
that
India win.
the
Yeah, of
prediction
course,
goes
of
wrong.
course.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing blue for no reason. Yeah.
And you're wearing black. Ironic.
Ironic.
So, yep, it's Shashwat, me, Shane, and Harshit. It's bye bye. We'll be back. Tap that bell icon so that when we go live, each and every time we give you an update. Bye bye.